Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. I feel like Arkansas and A&M fans both have to be pretty excited going into the Southwest Classic, 3:30 Eastern this weekend. Arkansas sitting at 3-1. Bluntly, I think they should be 4-0. Should have beaten Oklahoma State in week 2. Texas A&M, they're sitting at 3-1. Could have won that Notre Dame game. Not sure that they feel like they should have, but the bottom line is I do think that both teams have to feel good going into this game. Spread in this one, A&M is a 3.5-point favorite. We're recording Wednesday night. That is subject to change. The over-under in this one is set at 51.5. In terms of these two teams, let's start with Arkansas because, listen, the vibes right now, I don't live in Fayetteville, been there, beautiful city, but feels like the vibes are good in Fayetteville. Like I said, this is a team that probably should be 4-0. That game against Oklahoma, Arkansas fans don't need me to tell you, had over 640 yards of total offense. You move the ball at will. You don't win that game, but you come back and you find a way to win that Auburn game a week ago. So much of the focus, and I include myself in this, so much of the focus has been on Auburn, Hugh Freeze's reaction. I don't think enough credit has been given to Arkansas for going into a really tough place to win and improving to 1-0 in SEC play, 3-1 overall. In terms of why Arkansas is having success, listen, we're all, and again, this is another one. I'm taking the L on this one, okay? We all got entranced and excited about Talon Green, the dual threat quarterback early in the season, that Pine Bluff game. He had a couple touchdown passes, and, we were joking about, is he a Heisman contender or not? But the bottom line is, they have really, Arkansas, gotten back to playing basically Sam Pittman football. Really good run game, really good at stopping the run. In terms of the run game, listen, let's go ahead and give Jaquindon Jackson a little bit of credit here. This was a guy that, I'll be transparent. I watch a lot of college football. I remember him being at Utah. I remember him being really good. I don't remember him being quite this good, okay? So this is a kid that has rushed for at least 75 yards in all 4 games as an Arkansas Razorback. He is a guy that is currently leading the SEC in rushing, but it's also worth noting Talon Green, as time has gone on, Talon Green throwing the ball less but running the ball more. Jaquindon Jackson, Talon Green, both in the top 10 in the SEC in rushing. But then it's also worth noting the rush defense for Arkansas has been very good. They rank in the top 15 nationally, giving up just 82 yards per game, and they are stopping the run. Again, we just talked about with the Auburn-Oklahoma game. Auburn, they came into the game last week running the ball really well. They did not run the ball effectively against this Arkansas front. So that's who Arkansas is. Vibes are good. Feel like the vibes are pretty good at A&M too. Now, I know A&M, of course, you wanted to win that game last week against Bowling Green in more convincing fashion. But like Arkansas, you're 3-1. As I said a minute ago, I don't think A&M fans necessarily feel like you should be 4-0. But after that slow start against Notre Dame, 3 really nice wins. Even the Bowling Green game, it wasn't pretty. But one, I credit Mike Elko. He came out spitting fire after that game, saying this performance is not good enough. But also, it's hard not to be excited when you went to the Swamp a week before that and just destroyed the Florida Gators. Ironically, or maybe not ironically, like Arkansas, Texas A&M runs the football really well. Le'Veon Moss is a stud, okay? This is a kid, we knew he was good coming in. Obviously, the injury, unfortunately, in the offseason to Reuben Owens has kind of allowed this guy to become a featured back. But you're talking about a guy that had 90 yards against Bowling Green, 110 yards, about 6 yards per carry against Florida. And then Marcel Reed, worth noting, has been really good running the ball when he has been the starting quarterback at Texas A&M. Last 2 games he's been in, 91 yards rushing against Bowling Green, actually led the team. What's interesting about this one as we start to look ahead, we transparently don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback at Texas A&M going into this one. Again, we're recording Wednesday night. Stuff is subject to change, but right now we don't know. Mike Elko earlier in the week said he does expect to have Connor Wigman. I take that back. I believe the exact quote was he's hoping to have Connor Wigman back in this game. And I'll be curious, first of all, like does it happen? And two, what he would do in that situation. In terms of the possibility, listen, maybe I'm totally dumb and totally naive. I don't think I watched the press conference. I don't get a sense that Elko's trying to pull a fast one or confuse Arkansas or whatever. I think in this new era with sports gambling, with injury reports, especially the young coaches, they kind of get, hey, this isn't something to joke about. This isn't about gamesmanship. Let's be reasonably fair and honest when we can be. DeBoer's kind of been like that all season at Alabama, where if there's an injury where he knows a kid isn't playing, he'll just come out and say it. And so I bring it up because I don't think Elko's trying to pull a fast one, but I do think it'll be interesting if he does have a real situation, if Wigman is healthy enough to go. We know Wigman did not look good against Notre Dame. The counter is Marcel Reed looked really good against Florida 2 weeks ago. But the counter to that counter is that thought Marcel Reed probably took a little bit of a step back last week. First game, they didn't ask him to do too much passing the ball, 11 of 17 passing. Last week, 16 of 29 against Bowling Green. And so you do wonder if the bloom is off the rose a little bit with him as a passer. And if so, what would that mean for this game? And does Wigman actually give you the better option going into this one? Speaking of this one, in terms of the spread and in terms of the over-under, we obviously just talked about it. A&M, a 3.5-point favorite as of Wednesday night. And transparently, this is another one. I know it's not the sexiest conversation to have. I kind of feel like the under's the right side. Listen, I'll give you who I actually think is going to win. But if I'm making a bet on this game, it's going to be the under, and it's pretty straightforward as to why. One, another situation like Oklahoma-Auburn, where the quarterback situation is at best in flux for one of those teams. Kind of the exact same situation, right? Auburn, we don't know who's starting at quarterback. A&M, we don't know who's starting at quarterback. So we don't know who's starting at quarterback for A&M. With Arkansas, as the season has gone on, they have put less and less on Taylon Green's throwing shoulder and more on the legs of Taylon Green and Jaquindon Jackson. And so what intrigues me about this game is, with Taylon Green, with the passing numbers going down, he's now at about 54% completion on the season. I just wonder if it's a situation where they try to do what has been successful, which is as the season wears on, as the defenses get better, less and less passing, more and more throwing, trying to control the clock and control the football. As a matter of fact, I think that's what's kind of interesting going into this game. As I said, both teams, quarterback confusion to say the least, but two, both teams, as I said, run the football really well. And here's the thing. They don't just run the football well. They run it constantly. This is kind of a wild stat. Both A&M and Arkansas are in the top 10 nationally in terms of rush attempts this season. In other words, there aren't more than 10 teams, not 19, 8 teams really, in college football that have run the ball the number of times more than Arkansas A&M. So both teams want to run it consistently. Also thought this was interesting. Time of possession. Missouri is number 1 in the SEC. Arkansas and A&M are 2 and 3. So you have two teams want to run the ball, two teams that want to chew up clock, and I just don't see there being a lot of possessions in this game for either side. Think it's also worth noting from the A&M perspective, this is statistically the best run defense that they have faced all year. Now, I know Notre Dame was really good in week 1, but Notre Dame has regressed a little bit. Arkansas is a top 15 run defense in college football. For the other opponents that A&M has faced, Notre Dame is ranked 51st nationally, not bad, but right in the middle of the pack. And then it gets really ugly from there. Florida is ranked in terms of run defense 79th nationally. And oh, by the way, the Bowling Green team that you just beat is 116th nationally. So this is the best run defense that A&M has seen. They're going to want to run the football. A&M has not been as good against the run. If I was making a pick, I probably would take Arkansas for that reason. They faced some reasonably good defenses this year. Don't know that I would say that Oklahoma State is necessarily that. But at the same time, I don't think A&M has seen a front as good as Arkansas, even though, again, I know Notre Dame looked really good in week 1, but they've taken a little bit of a step back. So I do think if I had to bet, if you gave me $100 and said, go to the sports book and make your pick, I'd probably take Arkansas to win this game outright as a slight underdog at Jerry World. But if you're asking me, what do I think the best bet is? I think it's 51.5. This game has 24-20 written all over it. and I do like the under in this game.